We've all heard of the notion of 10x, and to me, that's exactly what's happened over the last year. I managed to take my monthly income from about $10,000 to $20,000 a month to well over $200,000 a month over the last exact year based on this month, which is why I wanted to record this video. And what I want to do is share with you the principles I learned of how to actually get there, because not a lot has changed. I've just massaged and tweaked a few things, which ended up yielding massive results on the back end. So I want to help you learn these very easy, subtle things that you can do in order to make these little changes and drastically change your business so that you also can 10x your monthly income. Okay, so number one is identifying and committing to your niche. So let me give you an example of this. I've got an online training program niched into real estate. I've got a YouTube channel niched into real estate. I have a real estate team spread out across the globe, but I also have this marketing and branding agency. And what happened is that in the beginning, I said, well, should I really stick to just real estate, or should I go after all of the other entrepreneurs that could also greatly benefit from this service of having their personal brand overhauled, show up different online, command attention, respect, and credibility with their personal brand? I mean, everybody needs that. But what happened is that after starting to go to different niches and trying to get entrepreneurs from different lanes and different industries, is that it actually diluted my focus of what my zone of genius was, which was real estate. And what happened is just by dialing in and focusing 100% on my one niche, that's what really allowed me to 10x my income over the last year, which is really hard because you know that you can crush in other lanes, you know that you can make money and get opportunities in other areas, and it sometimes can, admittedly so, be difficult to shy away from those opportunities just to focus on your one lane. But I can tell you from experience, and I've gotten this feedback from multiple coaches of mine that are 8-9 figure coaches, is that every single one of them, when I was launching these companies, said, Mike, just stay in the real estate niche. Stay in your own lane, dominate that space, remove your competition, and start to own it. And me being ignorant, I tried to go after all the shiny pennies. And what I realized is that once I really did remove those distractions and hone in, that's when my business changed. Now, the second thing is creating and understanding your competitive advantage and your value proposition. So a lot of times people are looking at what has been done by other people, which is great. R&D, rip off and duplicate, look at what's been done before, improve on it, make it your own, and then start to build momentum. But one of the big problems is that a lot of people end up doing the same thing as everybody else, which yields the same results as everybody else. Even though you're trying to do more, build something bigger, more substantial, or more profitable, you start to look at, oh, this person's got some social media marketing agency, or they do drop shipping, or they do Walmart stores or something like that, and then you just go do the exact same thing. But then you're one of many instead of one of one. It's a little fish in a big pond versus a big fish in a small pond. You want to be the big fish in a small pond. You want to have a unique competitive advantage. When somebody comes up and says, well, hey, Mike, what do you do? And I say, well, I train real estate agents on how to properly leverage social media using creative, innovative strategies. And they say, well, I've heard that many times before. Whereas if you heard me when I actually answer that question, which I'll leave that to your curiosity, you'll see that what I do is drastically different from anybody else that's in my space, which is why the results people get when they go through my training is substantial compared to what they get when they go through other people's training. And when you start to create something that is unique, that is different, that is a value proposition that your competition does not have, you really need to understand that, because that's going to be the only thing that's going to separate you from the rest of them. Now, number 3 is removing distractions and shiny pennies. And this is one that we all get caught up in, which is the fact that as entrepreneurs, we're constantly looking at what's next, what's new, where can we make money, what new angle can we take, which is good, which is why, we're innovators and we're pioneers and we do things a little bit differently, which is why the outcome and inherently the income can be so much greater than anybody else in just a traditional line of work. But it can also be to our demise. And I found myself trying to do way too many things before last year, where I was looking at apparel companies, and I was looking at doing the marketing for agents, and I was looking at doing so many things just based on saying, hey, my skill set allows me to do this, so why would I not want to do it? Why do I not want to just make more money doing all this stuff? But what you have to realize is it takes time. And time is the most precious commodity out there because you cannot buy it back. So if you start to invest more time into doing certain things, what happens is you actually start making less money. What you will realize is that time is what you're actually craving. And in order to build a business where, like mine, went from 10, 20K a month to $200,000 to $300,000 a month over the last year, I started focusing less on what new opportunities in different lanes or different spin-offs that I could capitalize on. I started thinking about how can I improve the SOPs and the procedures and processes and operating systems and all of the back-end work of my businesses in order to streamline them and help them become more efficient and more productive. And what happens is that you're still innovating, you're still thinking differently from different lanes, but you're doing it within the one business that you're channeling all of your effort into. So what happens is that instead of trying to be a jack of all trades, master of none, instead of taking your 100% of your focus and splitting it up across 10 different things, giving them each 10%, focus on one thing, give it 100% of your attention, and then find unique, innovative, and creative ways to dial that business in to the point where then it makes the most money possible from a profit perspective, but also allows you to remove yourself from an operating perspective so that you actually have more time to enjoy what you're doing all of this for in the first place. Number 4 is focusing on leverage, which is outsourcing in my perspective. Just because you can do something does not mean that you should be doing that thing. So for example, in terms of responding to emails, customer support requests, anything like that, I have a VA. In terms of running all of my ads and doing all of the creative work, I have a full-on staff graphic team and media team. In terms of editing videos, just like you're gonna be watching right here, I don't edit that. I've got a video team for that. In terms of every single aspect of my business, except for the leadership, the driving aspect of it in terms of the visions, the ideas, and moving the needle, I don't do any of that anymore. I have a team that does that, and that's by the notion of understanding what you're good at and finding others to outsource what you should not be doing once you want to build momentum. And it can be tough because I know that as entrepreneurs, we like to be in control. We want all of the credibility, all the notoriety, all the recognition, and all of the control. But what you'll see is that the only way you can scale is to give up some of that control in order to outsource it to other people that will allow you to free up more time to create new ideas and visions that will help move your business forward. And if you get stuck in the trenches of everything relying on you to keep the machine going and to keep your business running, then you're always going to be hitting a plateau and a certain income figure that you'll never be able to blow past. So you might have to take a few steps back from an income perspective and say, hey, I'm not gonna make as much this month because I'm gonna hire this individual, or I'm going to outsource this to this group in order to help your business grow. And while you might be taking a pay cut in the beginning, over time that's going to yield a significant amount more revenue, because when you take that time that you're outsourcing it to somebody else and you channel that time into doing what you do best, the results that are going to yield out of that will be 10 times greater. And number 5 is actually committing to the process, because a lot of people get scared of what if this initiative doesn't work out? What if this whole business plan fails or flops? Or what if I spend money on these ads and they don't convert? Or what if I create this funnel and it doesn't connect with people? And they're constantly worried about the what ifs and the what happens if it goes wrong. And by focusing on what happens if it goes wrong, it usually ends up going wrong. And what you need to do is just commit to the process, because you're never gonna be the first one to do any of what you're doing. I can promise you that hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands of people have been there, done that, made millions, and proven what it takes in order to get there before. So because you're not a pioneer of something groundbreaking, brand new that the world has never seen before, look at what's been done before. Follow that process, put your own spin on it, and commit to it with excitement, and stop constantly thinking about the fallback plans or the what ifs or the whens and the whys. You just need to commit to what you're doing. And when you go 110%, then that's when you're going to start to see 10x returns. So really think about, are you inherently 100% committed to this? Or do you have a side hustle? Are you a partner in another business? Do you have focus in other lanes? And if you do, you're not fully committed, and that ultimately is going to mean that you're going to hit a plateau. So those were just some lessons that I learned from 10xing my income over the last year, because it's changed my life, and I want to make sure that you're changing yours too and getting everything that you've dreamed of over the last few years on your entrepreneurial journey. And if you do have any questions, just drop a comment below. I want to help you, and I do respond to 100% of the comments in my videos. So thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.